I'm calling to order the April meeting of the River Falls Board of Education. This meeting has been properly notified, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do not have any visitors or delegations who wish to address the board this evening, so we will move right into informational items, and we have 2 Wildcat Pride Awards. Oh.
All right. As I've said before, I'll say again, this is the best part of the meeting, in my opinion. Because I get to talk, I can stand up here and give out some awards. It's pretty cool for me. So, Mr. Neighbor, if you would step up, please.
Andy.
Andy?
Mr. makes me sound pretty
Oh, I'm sorry, Andy. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Yep. The school board wishes to commend you for your exceptional leadership and unwavering dedication to the Greenwood Chess Club. Through this club, students of all academic abilities are given the opportunity to to learn and play the game of chess with their peers. Chess allows students to develop important skills such as strategic thinking, honesty, cooperation, and perseverance. Your commitment to the students at Greenwood shows in your weekly chess leadership, or club leadership, also in your volunteerism at Greenwood events, whether it be popping popcorn, selling concessions at the carnival, or helping clean up after the event. You are a true ambassador of Wildcat Pride. Thank you very much for all you do.
Absolutely.
Minute.
Absolutely, please.
You guys have a real gem in Greenwood. You really do. We've had 4 grandkids go through, and they've all had exceptional teachers, administration, even Mr. Sherman.
Even him.
But, you know, it just, 99% of the kids are very polite, you know, really work hard and so on. And that's pretty unusual. We raised 3 kids in the Twin Cities, and we've been with Greenwood for 4 of our grandkids. And they're just outstanding. They really are good kids. You know, there's a few yahoos. But I mean, I was a yahoo when I was in elementary school, so I know the gig. But no, for the most part, and I think that's a lot of it is the parents and how they raise them, but also the staff at Greenwood. I mean, the teachers and Mrs. Scapel and kind of Mr. Sherman. But no, I just want you to know that it's an exceptional school, and I really enjoy doing what I'm doing, even though I got beat by a 4th grader today. That was pretty embarrassing.
Really?
Wow.
Pretty embarrassing, but he kicked my butt.
He didn't even see it coming.
No. But anyway, thank you for the
That's
recognition,
awesome.
and I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I'm making one request for next year, and that is Mrs. Stapp asked me if I'd come back, and you know, all of our grandkids are gone now to middle school. I said there's only one condition. 2 to 3 jelly donuts from Quick Trip, and I'm back.
Done. Deal.
Anyway, thank you for the recognition. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much.
You know, that 4th grader had a really good teacher.
Yeah.
I wish I could credit, but
Thank you.
I was plotting away, and all of a sudden, checkmate.
And Mr. Neighbor is there every Monday for chess club, unless he's off traveling to fabulous places, which he should be doing as a retired human. But when he is not traveling, he is at Greenwood every Monday. So it's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're exactly right. Greenwood is a really special
It really
group.
is.
And one of the things that makes it special is when people like you give just that extra thing that makes a difference in the culture and to all of the students. So thank you very much for caring about our kids.
You're very welcome.
So
And 3 jelly donuts will make me come back.
well, that's already covered. So, yep,
You got it.
Take care of that one. Thank
Well,
you.
as a Greenwood alumni, I can attest there were some yahoos.
Yeah.
There, a few years ago. I won't say my date, but it was like 10 years ago or so when I was there. Yeah. Well, we've got one more Wildcat Pride certificate. We're presenting to Coach Cranston and the St. Croix Valley Fusion girls hockey team. So if you guys could come up, please. I don't know where's the best
All
way to
3 of my
stand.
kids went to Greenwood too.
Congratulations. to you. Congratulations. That's had a great year. The St. Croix Valley Fusion brings together athletes from River Falls, Baldwin Woodville, and St. Croix Central School Districts. Under the leadership of Coach Cranston and his staff, the program has built an environment that produces highly competitive teams while emphasizing the development of strong character. The 2025-2026 season was no exception. The Fusion captured their 7th consecutive Big Rivers Conference title and advanced to the state tournament, finishing as state runner-up. On the ice, the Fusion didn't just, that's worth a clap, it really is. On the ice, the Fusion didn't just compete, they also did with high character that has become the hallmark of the program. In recognition of their sportsmanship, the team was honored by the WIAA with the Winter Tournament's Team Sportsmanship Award, an honor that considers all state tournament participants across every winter sport.
Wow.
You are a true ambassador of Wildcat Pride. Congratulations on a fantastic season, and thank you for it.
Can I introduce, or can I have my two girls introduce themselves? I had 33 kids this year, and these are my two favorite, but they are great sportsmanship, and they are wonderful kids, and you can introduce yourself and tell them what your plans are.
Okay. I'm Audrey. I'm planning on going to Madison to study neurobiology.
And I'm Ella, and I'm going to University of North Dakota for biomedical engineering.
Oh, lazy.
Wow.
No easy rides there.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing with that is it was really nice going down there and having the whole state basically cheering for us. All the people there, even though they're probably not supposed to say this, they were all they told us they wanted us to win. They were like the other team, they just are kind of snobbish because, well, I mean, when you come back and you are basically undefeated in Wisconsin for how many consecutive games, you kind of just forget what it's kind of about to be a team player. So
Which school are you from? Here?
we're from here, yeah.
Both seniors from here.
So yeah, it was nice to know that even though we didn't win, we still were recognized for being good people.
I would say you did win.
Either of you planning to continue playing hockey? For fun even?
I was offered a spot on the club team up there to try out, but I don't think I'm gonna just because it's gonna
You're gonna study.
be a lot going on.
But you know, the skills that you learned in terms of perseverance and being a cooperative team members, it's going to serve you well when you're in school. So you will take that part of hockey with you.
One element that's unique, the Fusion is a co-op. It was mentioned in different schools, and the opportunity for kids to come together from different schools and different backgrounds and things like that. It could create some issues, but this team has navigated that since its inception, and that reflects leadership both from the coaching staff, but also from the senior leaders all the way through. It's really an awesome group, and I'm excited for them to get the recognition. And if we had like maybe 2 more minutes in that third period, I think we would have got them, but it was awesome. So congratulations. I'm excited that the board gets to see you recognized.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're not gonna be hurt if you don't stay for the whole meeting.
Yeah, okay.
If we had a jelly donut, would you stay? If we had 2 jelly donuts, would you stay?
Where are they?
I just wish we had them.
I wish we had them too.
Thank you for being here. All right, Spotlight on Education, and it's Lynette tonight.
So I'm going to turn it over right away to Joe Hazelman, our Building and Grounds Director. He is the glue that holds that entire department together. So he's got some cool updates to provide to the board tonight.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to present the Building and Grounds Spotlight tonight. Our team of dedicated professionals works every day, weekends, doesn't matter, to keep our schools safe, comfortable, and ready for learning. While it takes a village to support all the district's goals, we directly support the 2 as indicated on the slide here of providing safe, welcoming, and healthy school environment, as well as upholding operational excellence. A little FTE kind of spotlight here. You'll see the various roles that make up the department, ranging from custodial, logistics, grounds team. We even have some, my right-hand person, Nikki, helping me with the departmental management. and then some roving maintenance technicians as well. There's a great job done by everyone, but as you can see on the slide as indicated there, there's a slight FTE deficiency, which not a biggie because we've had a lot of board support. So thank you for the recent additions that have helped us greatly in that area. But we struggle a little bit in the sub-custodian and the grounds seasonal stuff, so no big shocker to anyone there. But it does result in some overtime, mainly weekend use of our facilities, which we'll get to in a second, which is quite heavy, and then snow removal efforts, which we'll also highlight in just a second here. So as we look at the size of the facilities, to include the recent expansions, thank you for the community support. As we look to the district as a whole, though, we're quite spread out. I don't think that's a shock to anyone throughout the whole community. I don't know of an area that we're not in or sharing with our generous community. That includes over 800,000 square feet of buildings, and as I mentioned, just shy of 48,000 square feet have been added to the district since 2018. So pretty substantial in the last 8 years or so. And I'm sure no shock to any of you, we just wrapped up a very successful construction season, and that was done with our partners Bray Architects and Kraus Anderson. A couple of those names you'll recognize from the past. And I'm happy to report that all that construction work was done on time and within budget. So very minimal disruption to any kind of education spaces at all. And outcomes like this directly support the district's goals for equity, safety, and being fiscally responsible. And we'll look to the outside now, kind of on the grounds and exterior side of things. Our scale doesn't get much smaller. We're spread out again, like I said, over most of the community. We have 85 acres of green space, so that's like 415 yards of average home. It's pretty substantial. We have over 500,000 square feet of roofing. I know Alan loves to hear about roofs, so I had to sneak that in for you, Alan. That's like 268 homes. That's a lot of roofs. I got you a smile. That's what I was going for. And then there's 750,000 square feet of parking lots. That's like 1,000 driveways. I mean, I was doing these numbers with Nikki helping me out, and it was like, holy buckets. You never really stop to compute all this stuff. So kind of crazy. So that means when you guys see snow in the forecast, we have the luxury of cleaning over 1,000 homes worth of snow and ice before school starts up. So as we look to the slide here about sharing our facilities, so obviously there's a very large educational component. Over 8,500 hours of instructional use cumulatively across all of our buildings, including our 4K programs. But there's a lot of extracurricular use and community use that goes into that as well. So that can range anything from our sanctioned school sports, community ed, our nonprofit partners within the community, private community groups that lease it out, it could be churches. I mean, I don't know that we say no, David, much, right? So there's obviously a huge significance to the community in using our spaces. And so with the very high community use, we're proud to partner with our friends and neighbors and encourage the shared use of our vital hubs of engagement. Kind of bridging that gap, and it's what makes River Falls special, I think. Moving on to the work order system. This is how we hear about and track all of the things that need improvement or are broken. So as you can see, we're processing a pretty high volume, 1,500 work orders on average. That's spread across about 40 staff members, but a large majority of that falls to our 4 roving maintenance technicians. So that's a lot of work, and that's not including all of the preventative maintenance and everything else that they do. So this system's pretty cool. It's a couple years old. It's totally integrated, so it's tied directly to your email if you work here. It allows cost and labor tracking across assets and work order history, so we know if there's a piece of equipment that's costing us a lot of money, we're putting a lot of parts into it, maybe replacement is better than keeping on fixing it. Or maybe there's a leak and we can look back through the system and go, oh, that's every spring. What the heck's going on there? That's really weird. Helps diagnose a little more in depth, so I thought that was cool. Provides staff an easy way and a thorough way to communicate problems and issues. So there's a two-way communication piece of this. So people aren't wondering, hey, I put this in last week, where are you guys at? They can see that there's parts ordered and kind of track through. So that helped get some buy-in and kind of put people at ease. And just in summary, that's kind of the department in whole. The grounds and buildings and grounds team's very proud of the hard work we do behind the scenes to keep our schools strong. Whether it's preventative maintenance, energy efficiency upgrades, or responding to unexpected needs, our department stays ahead of issues so classrooms stay open and run smoothly. And we're very grateful for the boards, the communities, and the executive leadership team's support. Couldn't do it without you guys as well. So thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide more depth.
I have a question. Does the 85 acres of green space include the Man Valley land?
It does not.
It does not, so that's an addition.
Yep. Or the school forest is also not. That is just I call it like the 7 educational grounds.
Educational is 85 acres, and the Man Valley land is about 40, and the school forest is, do you know how big that is?
School forest, that I don't know how big that
You're my
parcel is.
spatial guy.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't. I'd have to get back to you.
I'm
It's fairly substantial.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the community forest, I think, is at 40.
Yeah, and I won't take credit. We dabble in supporting the school forest, but I won't take credit from the team that manages that.
Okay.
Those folks do a great job.
So it's probably more like, it's probably double this land.
Yeah, I could say, you could say that quite easily. Yep. Any other questions or?
More of a comment. When you talked about the number, the square footage that was added for
Yes.
referendum, that wasn't added easily. And part of the reason that we were able to do that is that we had you overseeing and being the connecting point with Kraus Anderson and all of our building folks. I know that you watched over it very carefully. So
Yeah.
when you say it was all done on time and within the budget, a lot of that credit goes to you.
I
So
appreciate that.
thank
It's a
you.
team effort.
I know
Yep.
it is, but we have to always have somebody leading the charge. And I know that on this specific thing, that you were a very key person in all of that.
Well, thank you.
So thank you. And I want to, the next thing I want to say to you too, Todd, is that we all know that everything that we do in this district is dedicated to kids learning. And so it's not just keeping track of the buildings, it's making sure and that kids get to school on time. It's about your educators to make sure that these kids are learning. So thank you for both of you for your roles in that.
You bet.
So any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
I'd
Okay.
like to echo that and for you to share with all of your staff the appreciation of the board and what they do. Our teachers couldn't teach without what your staff does. Our students couldn't learn without what your staff. And this community couldn't have the strong school educational system that we have without the work that you and your staff do. So I would really encourage you to share with your staff how much we appreciate.
I will. I know that'll be appreciated greatly. Thank you all.
Thank you. Well, Todd, you get the next slide.
I won't take as much time as Joe did. Sorry, I'll speed it
But you
up.
can tell us how many miles you do.
All right, so I'm Todd Burnett. I'm the Director of Transportation here at the school district. On this first slide, you'll see here, most of you, I believe, toured the old building before we got the new building built, so thank you very much for that. As you can see in this picture, it's greatly a much greater space than what we had in the past. So our shop now, we have the mobile lifts where my 2 mechanics that we have down at the shop are able to lift the buses, work on them, even the support vehicles, the lawnmowers, anything that we have, we can lift with those 4 lifts. And they can work on it. It saves on their bodies, so they don't have to climb down on the ground and crawl underneath the vehicles all the time to work on them. It directly supports the reliability, safety, and longevity of our fleet. We're able to get underneath the buses more often, check them more often, sporadically, even just do quick little checks on them to make sure that everything is still kosher. We do have our annual bus inspection with the DOT coming up the Wednesday and Thursday after school's done. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that we don't have any more weather days or anything like that to where we run into any issues there, but I think we're okay, as long as Dave doesn't want to call one. The next slide here. So we have 47 drivers that are on our roster. They range anywhere from a substitute driver to a everyday route driver or trip drivers driving activities. We do activities for all of our school. We have a kind of a little thing with the university where we transport them around, take them on their field trips, to to farms and food plots, or like up to Girtons for like their agriculture or horticulture classes, stuff like that. We drive 3,502 miles daily on our vehicles. And you might think, well, that's kind of a lot. Well, we take kids to and from Eau Claire to school. We take some kids up to like a hospitality class up in New Richmond daily. On top of all of our buses, our 28 route buses that run daily to bring kids to and from school. We put about 6,000 miles a month on for the school trips and after school and weekend trips, and the kids club in the summer school or the summer program. So then we put about 613,000 miles on a year on our vehicle. So again, when you guys say yes to buying buses, we really appreciate that. We do a very good job of making our buses look good on the outside, but there's the other things underneath the buses and the wear and tear that people don't see, but our vehicles look good on the exterior. So it's very much needed that we get those vehicles, and when you guys approve those, we're very appreciative of that. Now on to our driver break room, our meeting room. It is a great space. If you haven't been in our old building, that space was about I would say from Monica over to Nate to that back wall. That's about how big it was, and now it's a space probably from me to Dave, if not a little bit bigger than that. So it's a great warming location. We've noticed that more drivers tend to stick around a little bit more now, visit. It's a little more welcoming. It's what we needed for us as a school district. We'll hold our back to school meeting there now, starting this upcoming school year, as we normally had to bounce around to other schools or to the auditorium to do that, just because we didn't have the space to adequately have those meetings. We do a very good job of trying to recognize our drivers as much as we can, possibly, you know, with the Driver Appreciation Week, get snacks for them and do things like that. We've had one wellness activity done so far. We had our chili cook-off. Unfortunately, I didn't get any votes, so apparently I'm not a very good chili maker. But the drivers don't need to know that, so. I'm still working on getting our bowling night together for our drivers. Obviously, as the end of the year is getting tight here, we'll figure out a time to do that. We might not be able to get the puzzle competition done this year, but it's something that we'll work on doing. And then every year, at the end of the year, one of my mechanics, who's actually, I believe, is going to retire at some point here, always brings his big wagon that he has a cooker, a charcoal grill, and we cook chicken and have like a potluck for the drivers to show our appreciation to them at the end of the school year. So that's something that everybody looks forward to.
You invite the city as well.
Yeah, we work so well with the city, and they kind of get us out of a pinch here and there if need be. If Joe's running behind or something with his guys with like snow removal, they'll help us out in a pinch. So we work pretty close with the city on things. So we invite the city, we bring Lynette down, and my gal that helps with the payroll, Katie, in the office, and invite Dave down. So maybe look in your email. Maybe you guys will all get invited this year since you guys got us the new building. So again, that's very much appreciated.
There's like 2 jelly donuts on that, right? Keep it going.
So experience and dedication down at the bus garage. I've been here 8 going on 9 years. I'll start my 9th year, May 8th, in this role. So I can't take all the credit for all these drivers, obviously, but we have 6 drivers that have put a lot of years in here, and thankfully they keep coming back and they appreciate what we do for them down there. As you can see, Chris Carley's been with the school district for 28 years. Kim Alton Olson, she was a regular bus route driver, and now she's one of our 4K drivers. She's been doing it for 22 years. Kathy Lamoth is, again, she started out as a regular route driver. When we started our 4K program, she jumped to that. She really enjoys working with the little kids, so she does our 3-year-olds and our 4-year-olds. She's been here for 16 years. Nell Henry, I believe she really loves her job. She's been here for 30 years. She's a wonderful, wonderful driver, as they all are. Doug Steiner has been with us for 21 years. He's got a very good rapport with the kids that ride his bus and the families. I've had families ask when Doug's going to retire, and they're going to be sad the day that he does retire. And then Mary Waters, she's one of our special needs drivers. She's been with the company or the school district for 34 years in some capacity. I think she took a break in there for a little bit and then came back. But she is a wonderful, wonderful person and with a lot of knowledge, and I think knows every family in this town. So, yeah, from us, myself and Karen included, I don't really want to speak for Joe too much, but I know Joe appreciates it too. And our drivers, thank you guys very much for getting this building built for us. And it's a place that you enjoy to go to work now. Not that I didn't enjoy to go to work at the old place, but you feel like you're coming to a nice place to come to work, and you take pride in that. So, and I know our drivers take a lot of pride in coming into the new building. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you. I've been to graduation parties with those bus drivers coming to the parties because they have been the drivers for students for so long. That contributes to the fabric of our community and our district. The relationships that families have, the trust that families have to transport their kids to school. It's really, really important.
Yeah, it's a big task. I mean, and we say it to them all the time, you know, they're the first ones that see them and they're the last ones that see them, but it's more than that. A lot of these drivers work to build a relationship with these kids, and they feel they don't want to quit because they started with them as kindergartners and they want to see them graduate, or you know, and then they fall into that trap that now there's another group behind them that they had, you know. So yeah, they're wonderful employees, and I wouldn't be here without them, honestly. They're the ones that make it go. I mean, I do my part, but they're the ones that are out there driving every day. So,
you know, and I think that it's lost on a lot of people that this is a real unique skill set. There's, it seems like, well, you just drive the bus around all day, but there's not anybody who can not just drive a big vehicle around like that, full of kids, which is kind of the second part. So it's one is being able to drive that, the other is being able to have all those kids, manage those kids, and those kinds of things. So as I said before, I just hope you'll convey to the bus drivers and the rest of the staff there just how critical and important their job is from our standpoint. And we appreciate your appreciation of the new facilities, but it was really this community that stepped forward and agreed that yes, indeed, we needed that new facility. And I think this community is to be commended for their support for these building projects we've had and their support of the people who work in those buildings. So, thanks.
Thank you.
The other reason this program or this department is so special is because it's an in-house program. These are folks that live and work in the community and have connections to the community, and that's not the case in all districts that are contracting these services out. So it really makes our center and our services special. So.
I think there's a lot of districts who contract out who wish they had in-house services. Because you really are, the bus driver is really part of the educational team. And
we do a lot of unique things, you know, like we'll bring kids from St. Bridget's over for band, and we'll take middle schoolers that are advanced in math up to the high school for math. And I mean, our vehicles are always continuously moving. I mean, it may not be all 28 of them at one time, but I think at any time of the day you could drive around this town and you'll see a yellow school bus driving around somewhere with kids in it.
Right.
Or a support vehicle, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Now we just got to get them all electric.
What that does is that creates opportunities for our students to be able to go from the middle school to the high school. So that contributes to their education, and we really appreciate that. I'm also going to be eager to hear at some point about the bus driver mentorship program and how that's been received, because that was definitely a goal for helping
Nate
solidify your group.
Nate just let me know this week, or Friday maybe, Nate told me that it was approved, or maybe it was Monday this morning. So yeah, it'll be good. I think it'll be a wonderful thing especially for our new drivers that come on
so
board.
that they can learn from the people that were on that other slide.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you.
Yes.
You are up next.
Like a relay.
Oh, here we are. That's us.
That's
S's are still there.
So the sign's not the same.
I know that you're working on it.
I am working on
I
it,
know, I
yes.
appreciate that. So, I'm Peggy Webb, and I have Jerry Muller here with me tonight. We're gonna go over our goals for our program. We're just very excited to share some of the gains that we've had in math and in reading and in our attendance and a variety of other things that we've set forth. And I guess the thing that I would really like to move forward with is that we talked about our academic goals being reading and math and behavior with phone usage and vape reduction and our program presence, and we're making solid gains in all three of those areas. But before I turn it over to Ms. Muller, who is very good at WIG data in regards to math and reading, I just want to say we're very excited that this year we had 0 students opt out for ACT, pre-ACT, and the forward test. In years past, we've had up to 60% opting out, and so we are continuing to see our students seeing the value of taking these tests. When we're excited to see the test results this year, last year, if I remember correctly, how big of a point? We had a 7-point jump in our ACT scores, so our students are coming to school and they're recognizing that there is value in the ACT because it kind of puts them on the mark that they are capable of being successful in school. And our staff is continuing to coach our students in the importance of test-taking skills, because even if they opt not to go on to school, we all know that our students are going to get jobs, so they'll be testing during the onboarding process, state certifications if you're going to be a licensed insurance agent, real estate agent, CNA, Series 7, Series 66, and any other type of state-sanctioned licensure. So what we will continue to focus on is the test-taking skills, because those are transferable to our students once they leave our program. And I'll let you go from there.
I'm proud of our slides, but your guys' slides were beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
I take no credit. 100% Lynette Coy.
They're a team.
That's a team effort, right? Yeah.
So I'm Jerry Miller, I'm the school counselor. Nice to see you all again. So by the end of term 2, our goal was to have 80% of our students increase their scaled score in reading and math. So you'll see that it's similar when I go over both the reading and the math. We're gonna start with reading here. So was the goal met? No. Point blank, that's it. But we're going to read a little bit more into it. So we did find 64% of our students increased their scale score in reading. So we didn't quite make that 80%, and when Peg and I talked, we're going to maintain that 80% for the end of the year because we think our students can do that. We think when we continue utilizing STAR to test reading and math, they will get to that 80% increase. Some findings when I was digging through the data with another staff member was that 64% of students who did increase their scaled score in reading, they actually took more time on the test than they did previously. So a really cool feature in STAR, I think it's really cool, is it tells you how long the students took. So we were seeing students that took 5 minutes for the reading test prior. This time, they took 19 minutes instead, or they took 10 minutes last time, this time they took 22 minutes. So seeing that growth, it might not seem like that big of a deal, but that's a huge thing for us, especially that Peg just alluded to. Teaching students, it's more than just a reading test that we're giving them, that is just a drop in the bucket and then we go on with our regular day. What's the why behind it? What kind of skill building is there in sitting down and taking a test and taking it seriously? And knowing that their teachers aren't gonna judge them, no one's gonna assign a grade attached to this. It's just for us to gather data and for students to learn that there is a little bit of value in being able to sit down, take a test, take it seriously, and then move on with their next task. The other finding that we found is that the 36% of students who didn't grow were less than 5 scaled scored points below their previous score. So that leads into, there we go, okay. The next slide, you can see there is a lot of good growth happening. These are all the averages from scale score, grade equivalency, and percentile rank. For our students at the Renaissance, we have some really high level readers, basically is what this slide is showing you. So when I said that only that 36% of students had the 5 scaled score points away from what they had previously, that means they were so close to just breaking even to where they were. But, well, like if you look at our 9th and 10th graders, they're reading at 11th, 12th grade level. So for them to grow, that's a lot more of an effort than if they were reading a little bit lower than that. So that's just kind of illustrating that out as well. So again, did we meet the goal? No. Do we believe our students can? Yes, that's why we're going to keep it the same for the end of the school year here coming up, because we're still quarterly testing our students with STAR. And we think we can get to that 80% growth for scaled scores. But we're also noticing a lot of really great test-taking skills that are being developed. So another nice thing that STAR does for us is that it suggests skills for each grade level band based off of how the student's scores are coming through. So I have this broken down, each slide is a different grade, and then it suggests the different masteries that students have achieved. So for example, for our 9th and 10th graders, there's 9 mastery levels for integration of knowledge and ideas. They've mastered 6 of them as a class on average. The 3 bullet points underneath, and this is the same for each row here, the 3 bullet points underneath are the skills that students are suggested to work on based off of their scores through STAR. So this is data, so I'm just going to cruise through these. So there's 11th grade, so you'll see that a lot of mastery is happening and there is some growth to continue to happen. This is 12th grade. So this is data that then we share with our instructors so they can see what are things that they can incorporate into their lessons already that help support this. So a big one that we noticed is a lot of our 9th through 12th grade, that vocabulary acquisition was the one that was kind of lagging a little bit behind the other ones. So that's something we shared with our 2 English instructors who take the bulk of the English classes that we teach, shared that with them so they can try to find some more creative ways to incorporate vocabulary into their lessons. So that's what that is all about.
And those would be in the aggregate, correct?
Yes.
Those skills.
Yep.
That overall, that's what each one of your grades would
Overall,
be.
yeah. There's no breakdown, like, there's individual breakdowns that, like, if there was a student that came to us and was like, how can I do better on my STAR score, you know, or something like that, we could give them an individual breakdown, but this is on average per class, yeah. So then we go to our math, same goal that we had for reading, just for the math, and then we had a sub goal under that. So again, might seem like low-hanging fruit, but for us developing curriculum at the Renaissance, which is something that Peg and I, especially together, have been working really hard to have kind of a scope and sequence moving forward for all of our curriculum, that 80% of our students will take 1 math class per year. So that just started this year, 25-26. Was the first goal met? No. Again, 73% of students have increased their scaled score, and the findings were very similar to what we found with the reading scores. So students were taking it more seriously, as in they were taking more time. There was a kid that had taken their math test in 30 seconds. So, and then this time around, they took it in 24 minutes. So I don't know. And again, we all know a test is a day in the life, right? Like, they could have been having a really bad day, they could have been having a really good day the next time they took it. But we were seeing that across the board, that on average, many of our students were taking the test a little bit more seriously, actually wanting to see their scores and discuss their scores and talk about what they can improve on. And then the sub-goal, yes, and we're actually really excited that 100% of our students are taking a math class this year. So the way I've scheduled it is that we are offering math. If you've been to the Ren, you know how small it is. We're offering math at least 1 to 2 times each term, so students can take math classes all throughout.
What we were finding years prior, we had a lot of students that were doing a lot of math aversion, so they would put off taking math their freshman, sophomore, and then their junior, senior years, they'd have to load up on all of their math, which was very, give them a lot of anxiety, and they weren't successful in it. So by putting the goal of having everybody have to take in 1 class per year, that really helps hopefully eliminate that big goal at the end of have to take so many classes their junior or senior year.
Yeah. So, and that aligns with students who are college bound as well, wanting to take a sequence of math classes. So again, breaking down our growth data here, we did find, I think last year our big wig was reading. Now we're going to be focusing more on math, because overall we don't want to lose that our kids are great readers, and we want to continue that moving forward. But we're finding that there is a lot lower scores and averages going on with math, and that's okay. We can handle that, and now we've got our scope and sequence figured out for math, getting kids in a math class every single year is the expectation, no exceptions. And we're hoping that because we are going to be focusing on math being an integral part of the curriculum for every student, whether they've gotten all their math done or not, which is what I hear from students a lot. So we have that, and then we also have that we're doing these STAR tests, whether they're in a math class or not. It's just a part of our school culture now, that they know that these are skills that we're gonna be asking them to do throughout the year, just so that they can feel like they're staying on top of it. Because like Peg said, there was a ton of math aversion. I've been at the Renaissance for 4 years, and the amount of seniors I had my first and second year who hadn't taken math since freshman year, it was rough. And of course they're gonna be anxious about taking math, right? Because they haven't touched it in a while. So we're just trying to keep it fresh so that students don't feel like they're set up for failure.
And the percentile rank compared to whom? 45th percentile compared to everyone who takes this test?
Yeah.
So that would be with all the high school
National
kids?
standard.
National,
Yeah.
everybody?
National standard.
All of
Yeah,
them? Okay.
thanks for clarifying, yeah. So same thing as reading, here are the mastery skills. We share this again with our math instructors, just because they are very,
Some of this stuff means.
what's the word? Specific for math skills in general. I don't know if I could do some of these now, but we share those with the math instructors, where the reading skills we share with all of our instructors, just because they can be a lot more universal. And that's the WIG data for that. You're gonna be doing the behavioral ones, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So thank you for that. That's a lot of information, and we also utilize this information to help set our students up that are part of the GIDO program so that they're successful in the math as well. So it's ongoing, and it's threaded through all components so that we can have a lot of success. So moving on to just a secondary thing for our secondary goal of ours is the phone use data. As you can see, we do good, and then all of a sudden we have a little hiccup. But in term 2, we had 50. We had, oh my gosh, I should have brought my cheaters. We had just went better. Term 2 we had 5, and then we had term 3 we had 18. Now, before you what are you doing with term 3? We have 18 violations. We had 3 serial violators. So like and 2 of them came from the high school. So we brought their data with their phones. So we're not throwing anybody under the bus, but I am saying that was a lot. It was just like, are you kidding me? And then I saw my little cherubs, and I'm like, come on. So, but we love them, and they're still doing really, really good. So, and you can see, and for term 3, we had we have had 5 5-day surrenders, and that stings a little bit. And so we haven't had anybody have to surrender it to the end of the term, but that's coming. So we've had students who have had. So when they get the first one, it's to the office for 1 day. The second time, it's a 5-day surrender. The third time, it is till the end of the term, which is, my friend, June 6th. So they are very aware of what's going on with that. So we love them. Our vape violations, as you can see, for 25-26 term 3, the data is indicated as 1. That data was brought in from the high school, so that was that student transferred from the high school midterm. So that was that wasn't originally part of our data point. So as you can see, we are continuing to do much better with the overall health and wellness for vape education and substance issues, keeping that at bay. We're going to, in regards to program presence, we're continuing to get the messaging out about our program, how we are, and our goal is to get more students from that could find more success in a smaller environment, and we are doing that through transferring from the high school to RCA. We are also receiving more and more inquiries in regards to open enrollment. We are attending lots of community events. We're still hosting a lot of community events. And this year we have partnered with Meyer Middle School and have gotten in front of their entire staff. And we were also part of the 8th grade registration presentation that the high school presented at as well. We are also going to be doing when the high school does, the 8th graders do their orientation up at the high school, we are also going to be hosting an orientation for our students. So it'll be the same but different. This is some data from So this is our enrollment. Our enrollment's been kind of, well, it's been a little bit of a challenge. As you can see, we've seen our numbers start at 36 at the beginning of the year, and then in term 2 up to 49. And then on term 3, we had 13 students come in, but then we had 11 students transfer out of the program. And a number of them were due to mental health, which means we have a great facility, we have a great staff, but sometimes the programming that we have available to our students just can't, we can't meet the needs of those students, and so those students have to find services that can best suit them for where they are at with their mental health. We also had a number of students that opted to go through homeschooling, and that was, some students were facing truancy sanctions, and so when they are facing truancy, I would say if I see you getting truancy again, I'm going to recommend to the court that you have to surrender your license, and they don't care for that so very much. So they had some other options for their educational opportunities, and that's their choice. And then given our political situation, we had students opt to do homeschooling as well. We've also had students who have realized that there are other avenues to attain a high school diploma by going to another school district that doesn't require as high of a credit requirement for graduation. So, and then moving back to home districts and expulsion. So that's kind of where we were at for our term 3 enrollment. Term 4, we gained, again, how many, 9?
We gained 8.
8 students for, so we had 11, we gained 13 for term 3, but then we lost 11, and then we gained 8 for term 4. So, and we are sitting right at 45, which is right in the crux of that. Our students are great. For upcoming information, we have 4 students that have already successfully completed the GITO 2 programming, and so that's very exciting. So they are eligible for that high school diploma offered through the River Falls School District. We had 7 seniors that qualified for early graduation, of which they had to apply, be interviewed, and then had to be granted privilege by the Renaissance Charter Academy Board. And then we have 6 seniors that are still currently enrolled and on track to graduate in June. And then for next fall, we are looking at having 9 students in our GITO program already. And that number is subject to change based on the needs of students in their current academic programming. In regards to, these are some of the things that we've been doing, the number of prospective students that we have been given tours to. We're getting a lot of families from outside of the district that are having expressed interest. And again, you know, working with Meyer Middle School, I presented at the Tuesday Club, presented at the National At-Risk Education Network. That was a conference I presented to down in Wisconsin Dells. And then I was part of the River Falls Public Picnic when they had that this summer. And then we are still offering we're still hosting when our building is available. It's always available. When people need a place to land, we always say, yes, we can host, and we're excited for that as well. And our continued collaboration with the high school. As we continue to move it forward with the programming and the attendance and enrollment, these are the things that we're going to continually work on. Teacher consistency, they're going to have our support, and we're going to continue to really push the educational component for the academy, and then continuing to utilize the STAR testing capabilities so that we can continue to show growth in math and reading, and then continue to build bridges with the different clubs, the Meyer Middle School, and counselors and families within the area. In regards to program marketing, we've done group presentations with the homeschool consortiums on April 27th. I've got families coming in, I think up to 6 families that are excited to tour the facility. And so that will be kind of a big morning for us. And then again, we did a Facebook push, and then we did family letters as well. And we're just going to continue to get our presence out there when we take students out on field trips, do our volunteers, and then our civic responsibilities in regards to what they should be doing as a good citizen here in River Falls and throughout Pierce and St. Croix County. And what we're really excited about is Mr. Josh Weiss is our science teacher. He just was approved for our school was approved for a charter to create prosthetic limbs for students that don't have access to prosthetics. So we will receive the blueprints for them or the plans for them. We'll be able to print them and tweak them as needed for the people that are in need of them. And we are one of 2 charters in Wisconsin, one up by us and the one down by Milwaukee. So the closest one is 250 miles close to us. So we're really excited that we were selected to be partnering with Enable, which I think is going to be featured in the newsletter soon. And then we're going to continue to collaborate with the things that our students can manufacture and design with local businesses in Westside Elementary. And that's what we have. So I just want to say thank you to the board. We are excited to bring you the growth and opportunities that our students have. We love our students. I know you guys love our students, and every day is just an opportunity to know that we share in their excitements when they're successful at school. So if you want to add anything else, that'd be great.
No.
Okay. I yield the floor for questions.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very clear. It was very direct. You were really honest about it, but you helped us to be able to interpret the data. I really appreciate it. It was very good. It's an inspiring program. It really is. And I'm hoping maybe next year you'd be willing to have your students come and give us a spotlight about the prosthetic hands and so forth. That would be a terrific spotlight. So.
We can do that.
All right. The other thing is, one of the slides had a student giving a presentation when the state superintendent came, and that was another thing for getting the word out. It was a very impressive presentation. Your students just positively shined.
Thank you.
So,
appreciate that.
all right. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we've had a number of reports here, and we have the activities director update. So, David, you're next.
I've got my steps in for the day. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm glad that these two are here. This occasion.
We can leave it.
Yeah. So I get the opportunity to just highlight some of the stuff from the fall and the winter activities. As they were talking, and I've certainly expressed this to them, but I want to do it publicly as well. There's a 0% chance that we have the capability to do what we do at the high school with our activities and our athletics, and 2, have the success that we've had without the efforts of those 2 and their staff. Many situations daily where we just have needs where we just have to get things done in order to be able to host the events that we get done, and Joe's staff is phenomenal. Like there hasn't been a moment where I can't make a call and get something taken care of. And Todd and his staff, it's the same way. I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of people from a lot of different districts, and as was mentioned, some are contracting their transportation out. I've heard of situations where they just can't get bus drivers, and so we can't play because we don't have transportation, or we don't have a bus. We're going to send kids and they're going to drive themselves to locations. There's all sorts of different scenarios that exist out there. That's not the case for us. We're very fortunate. In 5 years, we have not had a single time where we've had to say we can't make the trip because we don't have transportation, or we can't get there. So that's a testament to the work of a lot of different people. But just so you know, you guys are rock stars.
Dave, I think we even went to a contractor school and picked up their athletes and brought them back to play us. Right?
We did do that once, yes. Yeah, that is.
They didn't have a bus?
We'll drive you.
Yeah, they did not have transportation, so.
That's because we knew we were going to win.
Yeah, so we just.
Wow.
Yeah, we figure out ways to get it done. So they do a great job. So I'm glad they're here and this opportunity came up. So on to the winter activities, athletics. Look at that. All right. 5 conference titles over the course of the fall and the winter. Our programs and our coaches, our athletes continue to be very competitive. Obviously, there's a lot of things that are encompassed within athletics. A lot of goals that we want to achieve. Some of them are pertaining to off the court lessons, like you talked a little bit about with our hockey team. But some of them also remain competitive, right? And so we want to do that. So football, volleyball, girls hockey, boys basketball, and boys wrestling all won conference titles. We had 3 individual conference titles within our swim and dive program, our girls swim and dive program. 5 regional champions. Girls golf jumped in with a regional championship, as did boys hockey. Jumped in with a regional championship with volleyball, football, as well as girls hockey. 2-team state qualifiers, which is always fun. You heard about the girls hockey program that got to go down to state and play there. Our gymnastics team also qualified for state, getting second in the sectional. And then we had some individual state qualifiers as well within our wrestling program, and then some of the gymnasts also qualified from an individual standpoint. So a lot of great things throughout the fall and the winter there. In terms of their recognition, 27 of our student athletes received first team all conference awards. So each sport has a meeting at the end of the season. Coaches go and they get to talk about their athletes, some of the accolades that they had throughout the course of the season, and then that's a vote from all of the coaches at in the conference. And so when you receive an award like this, you're being recognized by the conference as a whole for your success on the field of competition. So we had 27 first team all conference award winners, 27 second team all conference award winners, and then 15 honorable mentions. The state recognitions are handled a little bit differently depending upon the sports, and I won't go into the specifics about how those all vary. But we had 11 of our student athletes from the fall and the winter move on to all region and get all region and or all state for their seasons, which is great. Students also went to school and did well there. That's our senior cumulative GPA, so a 3.53 for our seniors. A lot of those kids are taking some difficult courses. You heard from two of them today that are going on and some pretty great careers. So the fact that you got to balance things, and our student athletes do a pretty good job of balancing that. At this point in time, we have 20 of our student athletes, and this is fall, winter, and spring all combined, that have signed or committed to play sports at the collegiate level as well. So we have ranking from the top schools in D1 to NAIA, and I have the opportunity to get in front of these students and their families when we have these signing days. And the reality of it is I don't care what level you're going to. If you're making the commitment to play collegiate athletics, it is a job, right? And they are going to have significant expectations for you, not only within the classroom, but what they ask of you to do outside of the classroom, with practices and early morning weights and just all of it. So to have 20 athletes that are committing themselves to that process, I think is significant, and it speaks about their experience that they had within our programs. Because if they didn't like it, they wouldn't continue to go on and do it.
Are most of them? Do most of them have scholarships attached to them?
A lot of them do. Yeah, not all of them, but a lot of them do. Yep. From an activities standpoint, we've had 7 different programs compete at the state level, from the early fall with and late fall with marching band, all the way down to robotics. Actually, they finished up this last weekend, so they qualified for a state competition over in Green Bay. They were seeded 33rd, I believe, and then ended up in the 20s when they finished up. So I know that group was pretty excited about it. They're in there every day building and tinkering with those things, and the robot was pretty cool. So 7 different programs, 1 team state champ, and then we had an individual state champ within forensics as well. So those programs. Sometimes athletics, overshadows some of those things from the newspaper standpoint, from the community standpoint. They commit hours and hours and hours, and if you want to see it in action, you can come to the week that band puts on in the summer, where they're out there 8 hours a day, and the commitment from these people, which was fun, is over the course of the state tournament for girls hockey, we had mock trial down in Madison at the same time, and so there was a gap in between times, and it worked out. So I got to go and see mock trial in Madison at the courthouse as well, and to sit there in the courtroom where you have real judges, real attorneys doing all of the scoring, and to watch our kids compete and be able to articulate and argue their case in front of these people. They were great. It was awesome. My 11-year-old went with me. He thought it was like an episode of Matlock. We do watch Matlock in our home. Sometimes we like the old school TV. Yeah, so this was old Matlock. We watch old Matlock in our house. But he was impressed. He liked it. So they put a tremendous amount of work in. It's great. From a numbers standpoint, we have 528 individual athletes that participate in a sport, and we have 503 individual participants within our different clubs and activities. 203 of those individuals participate in both, right? So we're at that 78% of our students within our building participate in some sport or activity. So that remains a high percentage. There's certainly conversations that we have on a regular basis about different opportunities for new athletics potentially coming in, new clubs and organizations that want to start up and have some ideas for things that they want to do. So we're in constant communication with people in regards for what some of those things could be. How sustainable will those things be if we do bring them on? So I like the fact that we're at 78%. The goal is we want kids to participate, right? 100% would be fantastic, right? Because we know that if people are invested in other things, that they're more likely to show up at school on a regular basis, have less issues with absenteeism. Academically, they improve. Behaviorally, they improve. So we've got a good group of people over there that are giving their time and efforts to our student athletes, to our students in other clubs. So we'll continue to try to push to increase those numbers.
Mm-hmm. Do we do anything like reaching out to the kids who aren't doing anything, saying, A, I wonder, is it legal to require it? And B, do we do anything to reach out to them to say, hey, let's sit down and look at your options here, and how could we get you into something?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Beyond really trying to advertise what we do have, that's probably an area where we could improve and try to
inviting them.
Yeah, try to figure if there's something that can garner some interest. Yeah.
I agree with you. 100% would be great.
Would be, yeah.
Any questions?
Oh, thank you.
We know that you have a complicated job. It's a lot of groups and a lot of people, a lot to keep track of and to organize. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for doing
I appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, so now we're back to you, Lynette.
Okay.
So we did not have a Finance and Facilities Committee meeting this month, so the items that are normally on that agenda, you're getting tonight. So the first item is our budget update, so 25-26 budget. I don't have a whole lot of comments to make on that. The first page is our revenue. Just key into that top line, our property tax. So that now includes both our January and our February tax payments. We get an April lottery credit payment as well, which is helpful for cash flow. And then we actually don't get our final payment until August after we close the year. So that final payment is actually a receivable amount on our books. So that's really all I have to note for revenues. Expenses, I've reviewed and in the process of just looking over where we're sitting with salaries and benefits at this point in the year to make sure that we're on track, if we need to make any adjustments to those budgets. And we always do a budget adjustment at the end of the year, and so you'll see some of those things come through probably next month or in June. But just letting you know we're reviewing all of that as well. Otherwise, everything looks like we're on track as usual. So that's all I have for a budget update.
Okay. Do you have any questions, anybody? Referendum project planning.
Okay, next item, budget referendum budget planning, and Joe is here tonight as well. Since last spring, Joe and I have been looking at this list and reviewing this list, like when we finish the projects from last summer, what, if any, what are some other projects that we can complete using those funds. So we've been constantly just looking at this list. So as you know, tonight on the agenda as well are some of those projects that we are asking approval for using the referendum funds, and those are some of our parking lot projects. So we've got the Rocky Branch parking lot, Meyer Middle School parking lot, and then the high school student lot for just a resurface or mill and overlay, it's called at the high school. In addition to that, and we've had some conversation at Finance and Facilities, would be adding parking at the high school. So tonight's agenda item is not adding any parking, it's really just redoing some of our current lots. However, we are still in the process of planning that additional parking at the high school. You saw sort of a rough sketch of where we're looking at. So that's another big project that we are looking at and planning for the use of those remaining referendum funds. We've got some high school water heaters that need replacement, and Joe's gotten some initial pricing on that, so we kind of know where those might come in. One of the items that we didn't get to at the bus garage last summer as part of that is actually doing some ventilation in the bus barns. So the buildings where the buses sleep at night, one of them needs some ventilation, some upgrades in ventilation. Won't be a real costly project, but we're looking at that as well. And potentially, and we've started a little bit of the planning for this, is looking at our playgrounds and making those more accessible for all children of all abilities. So we'll kind of see where the additional parking lot for the high school comes in at. That's kind of the next big item we sort of need numbers for before we can consider what else we might be able to tackle. We're also looking back at the summer capital list, so you saw that and approved updates to that. If there's some things, even though that list is really meant for Fund 46, if there's some things that sort of rise to the level of, well, we could peel this off, finish using those referendum funds. As you know, we have a deadline for using those funds, which is the 3 years, so we're looking at June of 27. When it's challenging to do projects within a summer slam time frame, that can be hard to fit in. So just kind of balancing all of that. And our partners are helping with that. We're still working with Bray Architects. We're still finishing some projects with Crouse Anderson as well. So having all of those parties involved in helping us with planning and managing and
getting estimates for things.
Each of the projects that would be done with referendum dollars has to fit under the broad question that was asked. So
Yeah.
we review that question to make sure that the infrastructure updates that Lynette's described fit under that question.
Right.
Make sure that we're following that.
That's correct, yeah. Anything to add, Joe? Any of that?
No. I guess the one thing that's I think it's kind of neat, we got over $160,000 from Focus on Energy back to the district for all
That's great.
the work we did, so that was kind of neat. You'll hear more about Focus on Energy in the coming month.
You will. Oh, it's exciting, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But no, thank you, I have nothing to add.
Any other questions?
That's great.
Super.
So how do we determine for sure if they're allowable underneath the broader question?
So we have reached out to our bond council, so they are
Okay.
the ones that help us write the question based on the list of projects, and so making sure that those fit under there. So any other items, we would reach out and say, you just verify that these are within that scope.
Yep.
It's a good position to be in.
It is. It is.
And now you have
Thanks,
one
Jen.
more.
Okay, moving on. Federal and state award report review. Okay, so this is also referred to as the single audit. And usually when we provide and present the financial audit, this is a part of that. However, because there was a delay from the feds in releasing the guidance for the single audit, that timeline, those timelines didn't line up anymore. This still was completed and submitted within the deadline timeline, so I don't want anyone to think we were late on this, but the auditors wanted to wait until that guidance was released, and therefore they released the financial statements first and then the single audit. So.
And we weren't alone in that in River Falls.
No,
This
that was
is-
basically everybody, right, yep. Okay, so we have this report. What exactly is this? So school districts that receive more than $1 million in, and expend more than $1 million in federal awards or federal grants are required to have a single audit. And it really just evaluates our financial statements and compliance with those grant guidelines and requirements. Some of the major programs that are audited are our IDEA or flow-through. There's so many different terms that are used for that. IDA, flow-through, special ed grant, those are all one and the same, okay? So it's that. And then we have our title grants. So we have Title I, II, III, and IV. So that's included in there. And then also our National School Lunch Program. So that is a federally funded program, so that's included in there as well. So when the guidance comes out, that really gives the auditors the what to focus on. So not only that, but then also if there were issues with the single audits the previous year in a district, an auditor will relook at that program as well. So they go by the guidance and then the history. So you have the report in front of you. I'm certainly not going to go over all of this, but I'll draw your attention to page 3, which really just goes over that this is the opinion. What does the report include? What is required? And they're required to provide an opinion. They also talk about the basis for their opinion. They talk about the responsibilities of management, which means the school district's management responsibilities, and then also the auditor's responsibilities. So all of that is in there. And then if we turn to page 6, this is where the numbers are. And it probably turns sideways on you, Amanda. Oh, great, okay. So this first page, these are all of the federal awards, and I'll just kind of draw your attention to the bottom right. So when I say $1 million in awards is sort of the threshold, School District of River Falls receives over $2 million. So we're not on any, there's probably no chance we will ever not have a single audit of our federal funds. So and you can see the programs there that they look at. So because we are required for
this, because of federal funds required for a single audit, they also look at our state grants. And so that's the next page, and you can see what's included in there. So including our pupil transportation aid, we get a lot of aid from the state through those different buckets. And if you go down to the bottom right of that, you can see the total amount. So the $27 million of state aid. Okay, so they look at all of these programs, they take samples of certain things, and let's get right to the results. And that is the findings then. We start on page 10. So the first finding is what's considered a material weakness over internal controls and financial reporting. This is the exact same finding you saw in our financial statements. And it is the majority of our auditors, their clients have this on. Their municipalities that they audit have this finding on. And really what it means is we just don't have the staffing to prepare our own financial statements. And so that's why we hire an independent auditor to do those for us.
So this finding would be very consistent with other school districts or organizations of our size?
Yes, and larger districts as well. That just
don't have
this. They don't hire the staffing to be able to do that. So that's what that one is. The second one, though, a little more specific to River Falls. So this was a significant deficiency in internal controls over allowed and allowable costs, and it was a special test. They pulled a sampling of students that we submit for Medicaid reimbursement. And there was one student who we could not locate their signed parental consent form. And this is a student that had been receiving Medicaid eligible services from the time they were just a little person, and they were a senior this year. And so just to find that documentation, we were unable to do that. So that automatically gets put as a finding, and then we have to make a response to that. And our response to that is that we went through all of the other files, every file, to make sure that we had a form like that. And so we've got the correction in place. It's, like I said, when there is a finding, they will likely look at this again next year, and so we're aware of that, and we'll be ready, so.
So would it be accurate to say that it's less of a structural problem and more of an isolated mistake?
Yes. Yeah. So out of the 7 students.
Our structure is still sound.
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
Our procedures are still sound.
That happens with, turnover in staffing and all of that, so.
And you've gone through and now we have none of them.
Yeah, that's correct.
So when something like that happens, then do we go back and make sure that we have that paperwork for all the other kids?
Yes, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's really all I have for presenting the single audit.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much. And Dave, you're up. No, sorry, Jada.
So at the high school, it's been going well as we move into the busiest and my personal favorite part of the year. Academically, students and teachers are working through the final stretch of the year. We just started term 4, I believe, April 4th, so 3 weeks in now. And there's definitely a noticeable push from students to stay on track and finish the year out strong. This week is also prom week, so on Saturday we have prom at Kilcarney, which is exciting and something new this year because it's been held at the high school, I believe, since at least I was a freshman. And the theme is City of the Stars, so that's exciting. Athletic side, spring sports are off to a strong start. I believe baseball is second in conference, as well as soccer is first, which is also exciting. As we begin to...
I can see the soccer on there.
Overall, the school is very positive atmosphere right now. Students are really involved academically, as well as sports and upcoming events. And as we head towards the end of the year, there's a lot of excitement building along with focusing on finishing strong and making the most of the remaining weeks.
Yeah. That's good report.
Thank you,
Jada. Well
Weather's
done.
good Saturday. Yeah.
A question, you said that prom is going to be at Kilcarney?
Yeah.
Correct. And there's no issues
with prom? No.
I'm asking a pragmatic stuff like liability insurance and coverage and all that.
There's a couple things. The Grand March is still at the high school. Okay. And then the students who are attending the prom will take a bus from the high school Grand March to Kilcarney, and then they will take a bus home after. And once you commit to be there, you're committed to be there for the entire term.
Interesting. I assumed you.
That's
you
the response to your question. Now,
but I think,
will there be no problems at prom? I will defer to
Doubtful.
Kit and the leadership team as well as the
Never a problem?
prom committee that organizes it to answer that.
What's the purpose of going someplace like that?
I think I could let Jada speak.
Yeah.
I think people just wanted to like switch it up than just like the high school. It's definitely more exciting.
Yeah, it's hard to get super excited. It's like the same place where you have
To go to
mini
school,
corn
yeah.
dogs and
Right.
now you're having a dance.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be at a place that's a little bit different than your
Fancier.
normal.
Then do they have dinner at Kilcarney and stuff? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have concessions and stuff.
Oh, nice. That'd be fun.
Very nice.
We had a group of individuals who presented this idea to the high school administration. They walked through all of our questions specific to transportation, venue, contacted the people at the different venues and worked it all out and presented the information and ultimately it was exciting.
That's awesome. Nice. Fun. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Go prom.
All right, now I'm up.
Thank you, Jada. Now you're up.
All right, so I get to report on the school board election from April 7th, and so the first thing I want to do is congratulate two board members who are re-elected, Stacy Johnson-Myers and Allison H. Page, as it says. So we're super excited that they will be serving 3-year terms. There's a couple of documents that you'll see in the official packet. The first one shows the official results, and that's as well as the certification. I want to carve out some time to thank Amanda Taylor as well as the Board of Canvassers, Elaine Bauman, Rebecca Ferguson, and Jennifer Karras. Their job is to review and determine and certify the results of the election, and they take those steps seriously, and so those documents are there, and congratulations.
Thank you. Yes. All right, now we are going to move on to action items. So before us tonight, we have the meeting minutes from the March 23rd regular Board of Education meeting. We have minutes from the March 26th special board meeting. We also have bills that have been submitted for payment as well as employment recommendations. Additionally, we have a list of first readings of Neola policies that you will see in item 5, as well as second readings of Neola policies that you see in item 6. Would any board member like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Okay, then is there a motion to approve minutes, bills, employment, and Neola policies as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Ellen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Allison. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried 5-0.
We should tell you guys we're not going to be offended if you don't stay around. But it's super
Joe
fun.
has to
Joe has to stay.
Joe has
We
to
need him
stay.
still.
I got the old.
All right.
Yanked from the consent agenda.
Well, the Policy Ad Hoc Committee is continuing to take its work really seriously. We are going through all of these policies very carefully. We did select 3 that had some more substantive conversation and some more adjustments after the policy meeting, and Dave is going to go through these 3. After he is done, I will take a motion for all 3 of them.
Okay, on page 174 of your packet, there's policy 5112, entrance age. The part that we zeroed in on is section B, which relates to entrance into first grade. And so generally, most kids come to first grade with experience, have completed the kindergarten program. But there are some times when that isn't the case. And so what we did is we just identified in item 2 the reasons why students may not have completed kindergarten, depending on where they moved in from and the expectations from the places that they moved in from, or at the request of a parent or guardian. So those are kind of the reasons why someone would want to request a waiver to bypass kindergarten. Rare thing that happens, but we wanted to outline those things. And then in number 3 outlines how the process we would use to grant that waiver, and it includes the principal in consultation with the first grade teacher performing specific screeners to establish the student's aptitude and making a decision if kindergarten can be waived or if it is required. And then below that, there's no change to the process by which a parent could appeal that decision. So that's the adjustment for 5112. Then moving on to 5505, academic integrity. The only thing that was substantive that we added is there wasn't a section that described study tool creation, which is letter F of the use of artificial intelligence. So big picture, and I know that Mary Beth will do a good job of kind of summarizing some of the work we talked about at EdPro around AI, but big picture, the expectation is that our students would not use AI or natural language processing tools without the express written consent of their teacher. And then we did, the next steps there is we kind of define what would be some reasons why a teacher would allow the use of AI within the program. And the A through E we talked about, but F wasn't clearly described. That's the study tool creation. And so that is outlined there. So that is 5505, and then the last one is search and seizure, which is 5771, and that's on page 179, and I'm going to alert you to actually page 180, which about halfway down on page 180 is parking on school grounds, and I know there's some, even still some formatting things that will get cleaned up for the second read on this, but the parking on school grounds, we just wanted to be clear on what it means when a student parks on school grounds. They are allowed to do so in designated areas with an understanding that an administrator with reasonable suspicion to believe a search will produce evidence of a violation of a particular law, school rule, or condition that endangers the health and safety of the student, driver, or others, they'll request consent to search, and if there's a refusal to consent, then law enforcement would be involved. So the expectation for students is they know, hey, when you bring your student on to one of our nice parking lot areas, there's an expectation that you're following all applicable laws and school rules, and if there's reasonable suspicion around that, then we would make sure that the student would be aware of that and that search could take place. So in the prior one, there was a little bit of kind of dual language, so this just cleaned that up. Those are the three that I wanted to highlight.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the Neola policy 5112, 5505, 5771?
So
This would
moved.
be the first reading. Thank you, Bo. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Monica. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried 5-0. Educational program, Alan?
The Education Program Committee met on Monday, April 13th. We covered a number of things. One of the first was we had a presentation and request for preliminary approval on a science trip for the summer of 2027. And we had a very good presentation. It looks like an excellent program. It'll encompass around 25 students, I think. I think that was about what it is. And this will be publicized and all of that, and they can handle a few more than 25, but anyway, we needed to know about it well in advance, and it seems to be well planned out. So I would move approval of that, preliminary approval of that
Second.
plan. Okay.
And this is next summer, right?
Summer of 27.
Summer of 27, yep. Galapagos Island.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
The next item we discussed, we had a nice presentation by some of our physical education faculty about our standards and the fact that there are really some more flexible and robust standards put out by their professional association called SHAPE. Can't remember what SHAPE stands for, but anyway, we had a presentation of what the SHAPE standards are as opposed to the Wisconsin standards, which typically lag behind the SHAPE standards, and why we're building our curriculum in our high school around our K through 12 system around the SHAPE standards rather than the Wisconsin standards. We think it'll be more effective for our students, and we agreed with that. So it's a very good presentation and good discussion along with that. We also had a review and discussion of policy 363.51, personal communication devices, and Neola Policy 5136, personal communication devices. We took action on that, but I don't know, Dave, you want to?
It's coming up.
It's coming up.
In the agenda later.
All right, so we'll come to that later.
Yep.
Okay, all right. And then we had a really robust conversation around the whole AI issue, and this isn't the last time we'll talk about this. In fact, we're on the very, very front end of this. In fact, probably what we're talking about, and Mary Beth will give a brief overview on this just a little bit, is absolutely the tip of the iceberg on what's going on with AI in the world generally as well as in education. And so expect to hear a lot more. I know I was at a WASB meeting over the weekend. This is a huge issue all across the state, and school districts are looking toward this and trying to figure out how it affects them, how they can leverage it, how they might work with it, and that. So anyway, that's kind of a summary of that. Mary Beth, you want to run through the presentation you did?
I shortened our slides up a little bit from what we had last week. When we talked about this last week, we went over the fundamentals of AI, where we've been, where we now, where we headed, and how will we know when we've made it. Amy and I showed kind of, we were told to dip our toes in the water, and what it really felt more of was like we were trying to traverse a really fast flowing stream and holding on and blindly leading each other through this. But the core of where all of our work is coming out of is we're really trying to stay focused on the strategic plan of the district. So the mission of the district, the vision, the values that we hold in the district, and that I think I just am so proud of all the kids in the district, and I could give you examples of when I've been in building, things that I've seen kids do. A middle schooler opening the door for his little sister and making sure it stayed open until I got through the door. At the high school, random kids walking through the hallway and asking me how my day is. I was starting, hi, how are you? And they right away, good, how are you? Are you having a good day? And I just think it's super impressive. That's how our students are. And I think that speaks to our values as a district, that as leaders, we all try to uphold when we're dealing with our students. But specifically for us, looking at it, was that goal for providing life readiness and zeroing in on the curriculum instruction. That our goal as a district is to embed curriculum instruction of critical thinking, problem solving, perseverance, adaptability, social and emotional awareness, financial literacy, and desire for lifelong learning. And AI is presenting a challenge, but remembering our core has been provided for us by the district, and that's where we're holding tight to. And AI is this layer that's going to lay over top of what we do. I talked about we've worked with 13 curriculum teams so far. They write their beliefs. Why is it important that we have reading, writing, math, science, career and technical education? Why are those things that are important? In the instructors create that, and then their instructional vision, and they say, how do they want that to live in their classroom? And I started with a tally mark of each one of these things every time they had one of these words. And then it was like, oh, but this word kind of goes with that. And so I created this list of, here are all the different words that show up over and over again in our staff's beliefs of their curriculum departments area, as well as their instructional vision. And none of those are directly related to technology. So how our day-to-day of how we do business isn't changing, and really this focus is remaining the same. But how can we use AI, generative AI, to enhance all of these? We have a technology committee and it's comprised currently of secondary staff. The creation of it came about when we were reviewing and looking at a new learning management system for the high school and middle school. But part of the reason why I wanted to share this is to show the depth of knowledge that we have. We have experience from 4 years to 30 years, as well as just all the different subject areas that we're covering. As I said, we restarted the technology committee in the 24-25 year to review our learning management system. At that time was Schoology for our secondary. We moved to the adoption of Google Classroom, and we implemented that. We worked through last summer, how we would implement that for the next school year. We implemented it this year and facilitated the implementation of that, and that technology committee was very vital in the implementation and the professional learning that we started the year with and that we have ongoing. To this year, we kept that team in place for the implementation of Google Classroom, as well as to start the investigation of AI. So Amy and I have taken part in some learning opportunities within our CISA, within our state, and within the nation. We attended a national conference for superintendents that was specifically for AI, as well as we attended the state level SLATE conference, and we were able to take several of our technology committee members there too, and it was a strong focus also in AI. So kind of where are we and how are we supporting staff after we've done that learning? We've put together best practices for data privacy when you're using AI in teaching and learning, defining it, saying what it is, what AI is not, as well as like what can we safely share with AI and what should we not share with AI. So that idea of here are some guardrails or guidelines that if teachers are using it, what they should not be sharing with AI, and really focusing on that data and safety and security. We also shared with the staff, here are AI approved tools, and it's more than just this one page, but we also have ensured that any of our AI approved tools have data privacy agreements, which means they're following these bigger policies that are mandated at the federal level. In addition to that, we shared virtual options to expand AI understanding for the staff, and the providers are well-known technology providers in education. Google, ISTE is a national, Code is a private industry, nonprofit industry provider of several education pieces. And then we wanted high-quality educational experts that were providing AI training for staff, as well as a multitude of access points, because spending the amount of time, as much as every staff member would love to spend 40 hours on this, nobody has the time for that during the school year. So we offered 20 minutes, up to 15 hours of training that different sites are providing for free. We did a staff survey of, I'm gonna say there was 11 or 12 questions on it. It had a lot of meat to it though, because then we separated it into elementary staff findings, middle school, and high school. We talked about the different themes that we found throughout that staff survey. The majority of our staff have played with AI, and they had to rate what kind of user they were in AI, and most of them said they just kind of have played around it for text generation, presentation generation, quiz, or image generation. At the elementary level, the primary use have been for administrative tasks like writing emails, newsletters, or letters of recommendation. The primary use at the middle school and high school, our survey showed, was for generating ideas for lessons or activities within their classroom for instructional learning. 72% of people that responded said that they were concerned that AI will negatively impact students' critical thinking skills. And this was a piece that really drove us to our values and what's our current purpose in education. And we need to remind our staff and our community that our purpose in education is not changing. Another piece was 85% of secondary, 100% of elementary respondents said they don't feel confident managing a classroom where students are using AI. And I think that's something I'm gonna talk to you about more, but that was a big finding, that people aren't comfortable with managing what AI is, what does it look like. And then at all levels, the biggest hesitation was a concern that it would be a decrease in students' critical thinking and productive struggle. So what we're working with the technology committee right now is identifying next steps in professional learning. And actually in our leadership team tomorrow, we're gonna talk more about that. So really important, we want first and foremost that we're keeping our students safe. We have a platform that we had currently in place called Securely, and that identifies if students are using technology for, it's an oversight for technology that we have on all of our systems in the districts. And they put a filter for AI specifically in place a month ago. So It will, it doesn't allow students to get answers from AI. And it will prompt, it's trying to prompt them to do more guided learning, but it's fully compliant even for students under 13. We are not using AI for any student under 13. If we did though, Securely would keep that. They're fully compliant that it could be used. We are not using it. And they're trying to make sure we have equitable access. So this is one example of what it looks like. The human, being the student, provided, I'm gonna make this long story short, I'm not gonna read the whole prompt. A student put in essentially their quiz and said, tell me the answers. They're looking for me, I'm pretty sure they copy and pasted because it shows the point value for each of the questions. And AI said, I'm sorry, it's against school policy for me to help you in that way. Please seek out an adult you trust. Anytime a student puts in anything related to schoolwork, that's what they're going to get, which is awesome. Here's another example of a math class. So this example is just like, nope, not helping. Go find an adult. This is an example of a guided response from an AI site. We have 3 currently open AI sites, ChatGPT, sorry, I'm blanking, Gemini, and then Magic School. Magic School is used by teachers. As far as I know, there aren't any students using it. Securely has their own AI. So new AI sites are popping up all the time. Securely AI keeps track of that, and we have it so any new AI site that is blocked, is open, Securely is automatically blocking that for us. We decide which AI sites we're allowing in this district. So this example, we're not sure because when we see these prompts, it doesn't tell us what AI site this student was on. But this is an example of the student asked for some help, put in the rubric of what they were supposed to do, and AI came back and said, oh, that looks really like an interesting poetry assignment. I can't write the poem for you, but I can help you better understand. So it's kind of trying to guide them without giving them the specific answers. So those are 2 examples of what Securely are providing us. In addition to that, Securely allows us to monitor, this is a 1-week example of how many prompts, the blue line being how many prompts the students cumulatively are asking AI, and then how many are deflected. So what we're able to see, so this was the first week of April. I can tell you the first week we enabled it. The bar on the left, which shows how many prompts, it's like tops out at 1,000. That first week, it topped out at 7,000. There was over 6,500 AI prompts put into AI. And deflections were much higher. But kids are kind of starting to see that they can't use AI, so there's more deflections. I'm not gonna put Jada on the spot, but I'd love to hear what she says. As well as our deflected users. So the other thing that we're able to do with Securely is how kids are using AI. We're able to see their specific prompts and specific students, how much they're using it. So this top student had 247 deflections to games and 3 other categories. And I can go in and click on the little eyeball on the right, and I can see that student, and then I can go to that student's prompt specifically to see what they've been asking AI to do for it.
So you can go back and share that Big Brother is watching.
So our next steps, we have some policies. We have some policies, our academic integrity policy that you did just approve. That policy has some AI language in it specifically, as well as we have an AI specific policy that's coming up. We'll be doing some professional learning on it before the start of next school year. What that looks like a little bit is still in the works. My goal our goal as a technology committee is to get the student AI survey out to find out where kids are at in AI and what they think of it, as well as to create some pathway for student AI literacy. To have students that are good users of this technology. One of the things that I shared on last Monday was a flow chart of when do we use AI because of listened to an interesting podcast, and when technology first came out and you got a cookie, people were like, oh, that's cool, I love a cookie, I'll take a cookie in my computer, not realizing a cookie is really spyware. You know, there's something that's being collected. And, you know, one of the things with AI is hallucinations, and it sounds like, oh, AI hallucinates. You know, what is that? It's kind of dreaming, you know, maybe it's gonna stop, we don't really know. It's really giving incorrect information. It's telling you a line of garbage. And so helping ensure that students understand that AI is not Google, where it was saying, here's all your top things that you should look up, and you can do more research on. It's taking all the things and giving it back in its own synthesis, and it's not always correct. As well as we want to make sure we help students understand the environmental impact, and overall making sure anything that we're doing, we're transparent and communicating with families, and that families are clear on what we're allowing or what students are doing in schools, as well as staff.
Okay, thank you, Mary Beth. This is, as I mentioned earlier, this is an interesting topic. A couple times it's come up this how AI can enhance our students' education, but I think as she moved through the presentation, you can see it's really, we're trying to make sure that we're in a place that we know how to engage our students, faculty, and staff with AI. It's a moving target, it's changing all the time. It's not just another software program that we're going to be dealing with. And one of the things that I think we're dealing with generally with our students is helping to prepare them for a world of AI the rest of their career, because we're at the very front end of this. This is huge. And we'll see more products probably coming our way, and a year from now we'll be having a very different conversation about AI, but we will be having a conversation about it. But I think just generally we're on top of it, we're watching it, we're monitoring it, and we're working in a way that helps us to most constructively engage with AI and its changes going forward. So appreciate all the work that's gone into this and all the discussion we've had so far about it. Let's see, so then we had, the last thing we talked about was a summer school update. One of you want to tell us summarize what our summer school update was?
We just talked about some of the enhancements that we are looking forward to this year, including expanding some of our enrichment opportunities, not just at the elementary level, but at the middle and high school level, where typically it had been credit recovery or health or personal finance, but some genuine enrichment, cooking, and ACT type courses. We're looking at expanding our bus routes so that we can perhaps grab some more students to attend. So we're looking forward to seeing how those registration numbers look, which close May 1st. So we'll have more information after May 1st.
Great.
Well, and thank you for just shuffling it up a little bit. Those are good things in response to student need and interest and district goals. So thank you.
We sent out a family survey earlier this winter to find out like what were some of the barriers to summer school, and transportation and new courses were tops and some of the things they were looking for changes. So that's what we tried to do.
And thank you for the second go around on the AI presentation. It was good to hear it again. It was good to hear it again. We didn't have this as something, if you had asked us in the fall if we would be doing this now in April, I don't think that we would have really recognized what was coming. Okay. The Personnel Committee met on April 13th, and during that meeting we heard a staffing update. This is the busy time of the year where we are trying to fill the needed spots for the fall. Nate's doing a good job on that. We also talked about the bus driver mentor handbook that is going to support the mentorship program. We're excited about that. I think it's going to be good for our bus drivers. Annually, we as a board need to send letters of intent to certified and support staff, so we took care of getting that done. We also then went into closed session, and during that time, we discussed a separation agreement, we took action, and we also discussed the plans and the goals that we have for negotiations for this type of year. We had a very full meeting that day, 2 meetings actually, and so what we decided to do was to table the district scorecard update until another meeting. It'll still be there for us to discuss later on. We also remembered on the 13th that we met on April 6th, and during that time, we had another closed session meeting to talk about our collective bargaining goals with the teachers and with the bus drivers. Is there anything else that we should bring back? Okay. Then at this point, is there a motion to approve the bus driver mentor handbook?
So moved.
Thank you, Ellen. Is there a second?
Second.
Was that you, Allison?
Yeah, Allison.
Okay. Thank you. Any discussion?
This looks like a really good effort, so we're looking forward to how this plays out, so anyway.
Yeah, and we talked about that it would be nice if, for any bus driver who would like to have the chance, if it's something that Todd thinks would be valuable to do a shadow. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. And I will move that we send letters of intent for the upcoming academic year to certified and support staff. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ellen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Dave, I'm going to turn to you for a description about why we are doing these 2 policies now.
Yeah, so item E talks about a consideration or action to approve what looks to be potentially 2 separate policies, but what I'm here to clarify is it's actually the same policy in which we're going to potentially approve a first reading of it to take effect at least by July 1st, and that's why we need to have these 2 numbering systems, okay? So the numbering system, prior to us fully adopting Neola, will require it to be called 363.51, non-school issued personal communication devices. And then once it's adopted by Neola, when all of our Neola policies are fully adopted, it will be policy 5136. But the guts of the policy, the intent of the policy is exactly the same. So is there any questions on why there's 2 numbers of policies?
And we need to do it because
Correct.
for the law.
Yep, that's right. So our process, you bring up a key piece here. So we've provided prior presentations about kind of what our personal communication device policies within the district are and how we need to make some updates to be aligned with the current state law and how that comes into effect on July 1st. And so through the process of developing this policy, we met with academic services. We also met with each of our school leaders to gain an understanding of their impact and their opinions on what should be part of this policy. And so one thing that is important to recognize is that there is an impact of personal communication device on our educational environment. And so these policies are designed to stay focused on making sure that we can achieve our goals of a safe environment for students that's focused on academic growth. That's the first piece. And the second piece is we need to partner with parents in the enforcement of this policy. And so you'll see those things highlighted in this policy as well. So what you're seeing presented tonight meets the current law expectation that goes into place on July 1 of this year, and it also reflects our current practices. And we will continue to analyze this policy specifically to see if adjustments are needed, specifically if there's more strict enforcement or restriction policies at the high school. But right now, this is what's being recommended. So in kind of diving into the policy, I wanted to highlight a couple of elements within that first paragraph. And the first thing is we recognize that PCDs have an impact on student conduct, mental health, and academic achievement, and that's why we need to have some limitations on their use. The second thing is we know that to fully meet the expectations and foster a supportive environment, we need a partnership with parents and students in the enforcement of this. The next thing is the second paragraph distinguishes between how we manage school issued devices, and that's policy 7540 and policy 750.03 versus this policy, which is really non-school issued devices. The next section's definitions. The 2 definitions that I would highlight that I think are important that were not part of the state definition when they established the law was what does it mean, what does instructional time mean? So we've defined what River Falls School District instructional time means. And then 10 is personal communication devices. What kind of falls under that umbrella? We all think cell phone. Yep, it's the cell phone policy. I agree with, that's the big dog in this thing. But there's other elements there that fall under that, and those are outlined as well. And then the next definition that's important is school hours. So the big distinguishing here is instructional time versus school hours. And the expectations for PCD use are a little bit different, PK through 8th grade, in which essentially the students are allowed to have them, but they can't use them and they can't be on their person or out during the entire school day. And that's what's outlined in the expectations for PK through 8th grade students, as opposed to our 9th through 12th grade students, in which they can possess PCDs, and but they cannot use them during instructional time. When they are not in use, they should either be in what is called phone lockers, which are in each classroom, or in their regular district-issued hallway locker. So are there any questions on either the definitions or our broad expectations for our students, whether it's our PK through 8th grade students or our 9th through 12th grade students?
No, I think we're going to get a lot of input, a lot of feedback from parents probably as this comes out.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I don't think we will, because there's no actual change in what we're doing in the process of what we're doing. So if a parent is engaged in their child's education, they should know PK through 8 they can't have them, and I would say almost all of our parents know that, right?
They know that.
And in 9th through 12th grade, they understand that if the student is using them during instructional time, they're going to be taken away. So we potentially,
So they're already doing
it's
it.
an opinion that may be true, that we might get information because it's now become a policy, and people have a lot of opinions on cell phones and those types of things, so we'd be definitely comfortable with getting that feedback. But as far as a parent of a current student in our schools, they should be aware of it, because we've worked really hard at every level to communicate what those policies are, whether it's in the handbook or whether it's through other outgoing communication. Jada, are students, I'm not saying if they follow the policy, I'm just asking, are they aware of the expectations of when they can have their cell phone out or when they can't have their cell phone? I figured that's the case. Now, just like anything, that doesn't necessarily mean that every child follows every policy that we have, and that's why we have some ways that we follow up if that's not the case. So, the next thing that I'd alert you to is policy violations, and as a policy, we're going to basically say, look, if you don't follow this, if you violate the policy, there's going to be disciplinary action taking place, and that's going to be outlined in the student handbook, which everyone has an opportunity to look at, including parents and students sign off that they've understood that. Broadly, obviously, this can be a more crucial conversation at the high school, because we have some times when students can use it during the school day and sometimes when they can't, and that can be the trickiest transition piece. Over this year, they've really been very clear that if a student is found in violation of the policy, which they call locally a tech violation, the cell phone is taken, it's stored in the high school office, and it's picked up by a parent. And so that's at the first violation. And that really highlights the partnership piece that we need to have with parents to understand. Well, there is some reasonable reasons why you would have a child have a cell phone at the high school level, and even times when they would have to use it during the pieces of the time of the day that they could. However, that partnership goes then to say, if there is a violation, then the understanding is that the way that we can really help crystallize for that young person the importance of when to appropriately use it is to have that parent intervene at that point and come in and grab that cell phone for them. And so if there's a refusal by a student to give the cell phone to the employee, now we treat that as a different thing. It's not just a tech violation, which is an oopsie that we don't feel great about. Now we're talking about insubordination. And so just like any other insubordination policy, we take progressive steps to make sure that the student follows the directions. So that's policy violations. The state statute carves out some specific ways or specific times when the student use of PCDs would not be considered a tech violation. So emergency or threat, healthcare management, which is authorized by a student's individual health plan that's on file with the school, an IEP, if it's outlined specifically within that IEP, or 504 plan. or if there's a legitimate purpose that's approved or authorized by the principal. Those, I can't think of an example right now, given the school-issued tech opportunities that could happen during the school day, but there's that carve-out just in case. And then student responsibility for their PCDs, they're solely responsible for their care and security of them. And overall, the expectation is if a parent would need to get a hold of their child, they can funnel that through the school office. Are there questions on that policy?
Is there a motion to approve the first reading of the new school board policy 363.51, non-school issued personal communication devices, and the Neola policy 5136, which also has the name non-school issued personal communication devices?
So moved.
Thank you, Monica. Is there a second? Thank you, Allison. Any discussion?
I just one comment. I'm really glad that we've pinpointed parent expectations in this. We expect parents to be partners in this, so it's going to go a lot easier, and if parents understand this, it's going to be a lot easier to get students to comply. So,
Anything else?
Maybe.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. All right. Lynette and Joe, looks like you've got some bids to bring to us.
We've got some bids.
Righty.
So as mentioned earlier, these are some of the projects that we are going to be completing with approval, be completing with our referendum funding. So these are some parking lot updates. We've worked with Bray Architects. Joe, when I say we, I mean Joe, has worked with Bray Architects to really look at these three parking lots and sort of determine what our best options are. At first, we were thinking probably for financial reasons, a mill and overlay might be our best options. However, in meeting with some of these vendors, they were really pushing hard for replacement. And as you can see, not necessarily because of cost, that they were going to get bigger dollars.
No, it was performance
But
based.
it was really just the need of these lots. So, we've had, I think all of these vendors come on site for a walkthrough with Joe. I'm gonna just turn it over to you if you wanna.
Yeah, no, that's
talk
great.
through that process.
Yeah, as you said, I didn't accept any bids for anyone who didn't walk with, because it's physically impossible for you to accurately bid it, so we always kind of throw that in there. As Lynette alluded to, a lot of the concerns were if we don't do this right, in other words, taking it down 10 inches, grinding everything up and just completely replacing, you'd see cracking telescoping through in 2 or 3 years and be throwing good money after bad. So with all that said, I can't really see the numbers, but I know at...
The staff is aging. It's the second reference. It's the second reference to eyewear tonight.
We do have.
I think we got to make
Glass
some
and
comments.
It doesn't matter.
It's big. I mean, I think you can make it bigger. You can make it
Let's
bigger.
zoom it for Grandpa Joe.
Yeah, you
I like it, yeah, I like it. I
that
feel the
vision
love way
insurance.
over here.
Yeah.
So of the 7 vendors, we got 2 bids, and we are recommending the bids from Monarch Paving Company. Rocky Branch, full replacement, you can see the highlighted amount there at $187,688.78. And then also Meyer Middle School. That is the north parking lot, so that is the parking lot between Greenwood and Meyer. That would be, again, full replacement. And then the high school, at the high school is a mill and overlay of the student lot only.
Yeah. One of the cool things about that Meyer Middle School proposal, we are going to be fencing the entire perimeter, so our middle school north lot will be enclosed, so that students, there's a lot of transfer buses and stuff that go through there, and we're linking Greenwood and Meyer now with a hard surface. So it'll be all ADA compliant between those 2 campuses. And so there's some fencing that's going in along there just to make sure, just like you see on Greenwood where all the kiddos sit to get picked up. Mm-hmm. That way if they're like me when I was a kid and you're monkeying around out there, somebody doesn't get pushed into traffic on accident. So there'll be some rather large gates there so snow removal won't be impacted, because I know that's a big push that way.
And Rocky Branch will still be the circle There'll be some eliminating of some of those kind of bump outs that stick The out little islands. and we damage the curb with
Yeah.
curbing of there, but otherwise, we've been asked that. Was it still gonna be a circle? Yep, still gonna be a circle.
And the 4 trees that we just planted in those areas that are getting eliminated are going to be responsibly removed and replanted on that same campus.
Oh,
Good,
nice.
because I was just gonna ask you about
Yep.
that. Good.
So again, we are asking for approval of these bids from Monarch, full replacement at Rocky Branch, full replacement for the north lot at Meyer, and a mill and overlay for the student high school student lot.
So with this total cost, what is that using for remaining referendum funds? And where does that leave us in referendum funds?
So, again, we still have working through plans for the additional parking lot at the high school.
Right.
I want to say this. The estimates that we're using for that and these projects, we're still looking to use about $800,000 in referendum funds. So we're not done yet, even if the bids and the projects for the additional parking come back where we think they might.
So our community has
Really good
really
shape.
gotten a lot for that investment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
And not to get lost in this, but this isn't just, I picked up on what you were saying about what's going on between Greenwood and Meyer. That's as much a safety and security issue as it is just repaving the parking lot. It gives us an opportunity to do some more safety and security issues for our students. That's really, really important for us.
What's the safety and security element of it?
Between Greenwood and Meyer, there's kids transitioning a lot of times, and right now they currently have to walk through an active parking lot with
Sure.
Todd's drivers do a great job of kind of corralling and blocking areas off, but there's always the occasional
And this is going to help with that?
100%,
Okay,
yep.
great.
Yeah, they'll have a hard surface to go from one campus to the next without ever entering the
Gotcha.
traffic.
Okay.
It's great.
Well, one of the things I hope our community sees is that we've been really responsible with this investment. And the dollars have
Gone far.
stretched
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I think
very
that's
pleased with where bids came in at. Monarch, as you all probably know, is a very, very large
Yeah.
company, and they're actually the producer for this entire geographic area of the product, so pricing was excellent for this.
Well, and all you have to do is take a walk over to Rocky Branch and realize that
It's pretty,
Yeah.
it's pretty neat.
Yeah. All right, is there a motion to approve the bids for the parking lot improvement projects at Meyer Middle School, Rocky Branch, and River Falls High School?
So moved.
Thank you, Bo. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Monica. Any further discussion?
I will just say we're still waiting on schedules for those. We know that the high school lot will probably be the most inconvenient for summer
Sure.
programs over there. But as soon as we know sort of timing of all of that, we'll communicate
You
that
think
out.
that'll be this summer?
Yes.
Or next?
Definitely.
Yes. we'll
Has
be
to be.
doing that.
To fit in the timeline.
Right now,
Yeah.
this is just the middle overlay of the student lot.
Yep. Yep.
That's good. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Do we have any proposed items for future agendas? Okay, then we're going to schedule the upcoming meetings. The Policy Ad Hoc Committee will meet Monday, May 4th at 6 o'clock. Educational Program Committee will meet Monday, May 4th at 7 or immediately following the Ad Hoc Policy Committee. Finance and Facilities Committee will meet Monday, May 11th at 6. The Personnel Committee will meet Monday, May 11th at 7 or immediately following Finance and Facilities. The next regular board meeting will be Monday, May 18th at 6. And everybody, please take note, the school board retreat will be held on Monday, June 22nd at 5 o'clock. All of those meetings are here in the district office. And now we need to have a motion to adjourn into closed session pursuant to two different statutes. The first one will be Wisconsin Statute Section 1985 1E, which permits convening into closed session for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. specifically tonight, we are going to strategize about the upcoming collective bargaining session with WEAC Region 1 River Falls teachers and WEAC Region 1 bus drivers. The second statute for going into closed session is 1985 1C for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, and Wisconsin Section 1985 1F for the purpose of considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons which, if discussed in public, would likely have a substantial adverse effect on the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data. Specifically tonight, we are going to discuss and take action regarding a resignation and/or separation agreement. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Alan, and I will need a roll call. Allison?
Yes.
Monica?
Yes.
Bo? Ellen?
Yes.
And I'm saying yes too. We are in closed session, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us for the evening. Thanks, Jada.
Thank you.